Hello, hello. This is Nicole Reloaded, and we loaded up with another video. You know what? I should have shared this out, but I'm doing this on my phone. So let's test it out and see how it is on the phone. And I am 2 hours and something late. Oh man. I hope that y'all voted. Did you vote? Did you vote? Did you vote? Let me see if I can share this out. Well, well, well. This is your girl Nicole Reloaded, and we locked and loaded with another video. I voted, yes, I did. I had to drive all the way to North Las Vegas yesterday to go drop off my ballot. I was not going to go and stand in those lines. There was news people and all kinds of stuff that were out present down there on Trader Avenue in North Las Vegas, Nevada, and I made it there just in time, because there was cars all over the place. So I actually handed my ballot to an older Caucasian male. And I wanted to be like, well, is you gonna put it in a box or something? I was holding on to that darn ballot like, girl, like it had my whole life savings in it. Okay. So they said that there's been 9 million votes that have been casted in Florida, 100 million votes casted thus far. They're already talking about recounts, and there are 2.5 million um, votes that have been casted that haven't even been counted yet. So if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris don't win in a landslide, y'all, if they don't win in a landslide, I don't know. Um, President Trump definitely said that he was not going to concede. So I don't know if he's gonna walk up out of there gracefully if it's a landslide. And if the numbers is close, he's requesting for a recount. I mean, it just is what it is. I'm not doing much, just tinkering around the house. There's no school actually today. I don't know about my dog over here choking. Sandy, you all right? Damn. Where is she at where it's dark at? I'm watching the news, y'all.
Police being deployed, the fact that lawyers are on standby. The editorials in the newspapers here, which reflect the views of the Communist Party, are really portraying America as a country in crisis, that there's political decline and decay, that they're unable to contain the pandemic, and that there is this real specter for unrest related to the vote. As far as the comments on Chinese social media, which are usually a pretty good barometer of what people think, they say the outcome doesn't really matter because both candidates are being seen as being anti-China. What people are saying, though, is that they will perhaps miss the entertainment value of U.S. politics if Trump is voted out. They say that he makes the news fun. You'll remember that we talked about the joke on social media here that he's called Zhongguo, which means build the nation, implying the country they believe is China.
All right, Janice McIntyre live for us in Beijing. Janice, thank you. For a more historical perspective of what this election may mean and what we should expect come tonight, I'm joined by Rogers Distinguished Professor at Vanderbilt University and MSNBC contributor John Meacham. He is also the author of His Truth is Marching On, John Lewis and the Power of Hope. John, great to have you with us. So first off, as someone who has studied American history throughout their life, can you put into perspective what these next 12, 24 hours means for the life of this country?
I think this is the most important single political day since the presidential election of 1932, when democracy and capitalism were on the ballot as well in the midst of the Great Depression. And before that, I think you have to go back to 1864, to the remarkable wartime presidential election, where Lincoln was so devoted to the Constitution, so devoted to the rule of law, that he prepared, because he thought he was going to lose, he was already preparing his
Yes,
cabinet
hippy
and
dippy.
government
I am being positive, baby.
to George McClellan, who
Yes, I am.
was going to undo
I'm being as positive as I can be.
the cause of the war. And so, if you're looking for a sense of the stakes are that institutions we believe in deeply are in danger and they're on the ballot.
So I was actually going to ask you about that. Looking forward, as a historian, it's obviously too early to tell who will win this election, but how do you think this race will have an impact on future elections in this country in terms of the way we've conducted them, and what, may appear to be exceptional this time around may become the norm in future cycles?
Well, God and Dr. Fauci willing, we won't have another pandemic election. It's hard to extrapolate because of the
If anybody would like to hit the StreamYard link, I'm just sitting around
in a weird way, and
watching the news.
I think the real historical story here is going to be less about President Trump.
I'm just sitting around watching the news. Just decided to go live for a little bit. I ended up being late because I was trying to get my daughter unfortunately lost her ID. I don't know. I was calling around so I can go drop her ballot off, and they said that her vote won't count. And I said, well, she already has a Nevada ID. It's just that it's misplaced. I said I can't state that it's lost. I said, but when she went to the hospital, she had it. So there's a card that was in the ballot, and they won't let me. They won't accept it. But in Nevada, you don't have to have an ID. You don't have to have. Long as you do have your ID, you don't have to have your ID on you. So with the ballots, as long as you receive a ballot, it's just that your address and your voter, when you registered to vote, have to match. But they still won't accept it. And I said, well, the DMV's not answering the phone. I guess you had a certain time. Anyway, long story short, unfortunately, one of my daughters weren't able to vote. So two of my daughters were able to vote. I voted. My father voted. My youngest baby, she voted on her little tablet. She voted for Joe Biden. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If anybody would like to smack that link, you're more than welcome. Like I said, I'm not doing nothing, just sitting here playing the news in the background. You know, I'll flip. I'll flip back and forth through channels.
Amazing.
Let's see what we can get on the news. No school today out here in the state of Nevada, I guess because it's election day. So my baby is upstairs ripping up the upstairs. Shout out to my baby girl. Let's see what they talking about over here on CNN. Please thumbs up this live. It would be truly appreciated. Listening to your girl, Nicole Reloaded. Make sure that you thumbs up, like, share, and all that good for your girl. Nicole Reloaded. Looking at.
Disturbing and wrong. What's more is that it is.
Oh, yeah, wait, they talking about the robocalls. Child, let's not even get into the robocalls.
What's more is that it is illegal and it will not be tolerated. Every voter must be able to exercise their fundamental right to vote without being harassed, coerced, or intimidated.
I've been harassed. Can I sue them for that?
We also report reports out of Michigan, as well as Nebraska and North Carolina as well, Aaron. And I do want to just really quick.
I've been getting so many damn robocalls since this darn election. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense, child. I got one call one day. No lie. I think I got up to like almost 40 calls. And they're saying, my sister Tara said when she was trying to call me, it was saying that my phone was disconnected. And then when she called back, it was able to ring. They trying to do something, honey child. They don't They don't want the information to get out. This ain't no coincidence. They have sent a Democrat has been to my door every single day for the last 30 days, sometimes up to 3 or 4 Democrats asking me have I voted. Not on top of that, um, they're calling my house phone, my landline. Not my cell phone, praise God. I don't get too many of those on my cell phone because don't too many people have my phone number. But and then you have these false robocalls that are coming in from saying that they're with the Social Security office, knowing damn well they ain't with no darn Social Security office. How you work at the Social Security office with you don't even sound like you speak English with a whole bunch of people in the background? Who in the hell do you think you fooling, child? You ain't fooling nobody. Okay. Just a bunch of malarkey. But like I said, if anybody wants to hit the StreamYard link and come up here and tell me if you voted today, have a conversation. It's all good with me. I hope y'all seen my video with about Lil Wayne supporting Donald Trump. My video with Ice Cube and 50 Cent. That one got 11K on it. I mean, not 11K. I mean, 1.1K, 1,100 views on it. So at least y'all was interested in that one. Okay. And then I also did a video on Miss Jaguar Wright. All of those, I have a lot of political videos that are in playlists. So is y'all voting for Donald Trump? Are you supporting Black Lives Matter? Do you think it's going to be any heck in the streets later on tonight? What y'all think? Don't be scared. A scared man can't win. If you're scared, go to church. Oh, Lord, I'm chilling in my recliner. Well, let me tell you what I made last night. I should upload this and let y'all see. I was going to do a video, but because people be doxing people and be all up in people's business, I was not going to show my kitchen because I don't want nobody trying to pray over my food and then I get cramps or, indigestion or something real bad. These people out here is evil, child. I'm just saying they just evil, child. But anyway, I had made ham hock potato soup. I had made some Southern style Nicole Reloaded. Okay, fresh organic string beans. Slow cooker. All of this, I bust out 3 slow cookers. Oh yes, I have 3 slow cookers. I have 4 children. We eat around here, child. You see my hips, they are 42 inches wide. I eat. But I'm trying to watch what I eat. And then y'all got to make that potato ham hock soup. I think I used just a little bit too much bouillon. Just a little bit too much bouillon. Don't use too much bouillon, y'all. Just like a tablespoon. Bouillon goes a long way. Just use like a tablespoon. Don't be using no 3 and 4 because it becomes very, very, very flavorful. Like it's very savory. Just too much on the tongue, child. Just you be like, ooh, ooh, that's good. Just don't use too much. Everybody ain't into that. Ooh, that's good. Everybody's not used to that. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, I made a tri-tip in a roast, a chuck roast. I hooked that baby up and slow cooked them for 15 hours. It will melt in your mouth and not in your hand. Okay, come by and visit me if there's some family in the background. You know who you are. You show up to my house and you ain't family, you ain't gonna want me to answer the door. I'm just saying. So let's see what they talking about on the news. In person, early vote 32%, voted by mail 45%.
which was much more Democratic. And we're expecting that to carry through Election Day. So we really do need to be patient, because the fact is, the early slew of votes, depending if you're in the South, they might be much more pro-Biden, versus in the North, they might be much more pro-Trump. So we just need to be patient here.
Right, it's absolutely right. You got to be patient, and just because it looks very much like it's going one way or another doesn't mean that at all. It just means you got to wait till that next big clump of votes come in.
Hey, T-Love, how you doing, baby? Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
You have a good day, too. God bless you, babe.
Possible controversy this hour about a campaign war room at the White House. We'll explain exactly what I'm talking about next live, and what to watch for tonight. Some key indicators that could tell you, when you look at specific counties or places, what can tell you early on who America's next president will be.
There's so many emotions. People's emotions are just up. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy.
Well, Dasha, this is a state that likes to take pride in its ability to predict the presidential winner regardless of party. There's an old saying in presidential politics, as Ohio goes, so goes the nation. We're in the Columbus area. This is Franklin County. This is an area that would be expected to turn out very strongly for Joe Biden today. One of the Democratic areas, like the big cities that we see in other states. The rural parts of the state, the exurbs, those are places where Donald Trump has shown strength. And we're talking to elected officials, campaign pros, and so forth. They think they've been able to squeeze out additional voters who had not been identified before. Ground game for Donald Trump. Now, of course, he won in this state 4 years ago. Can he repeat that? Well, both parties are saying they expect it to be much closer, and they expect that when the early voting is tabulated, those first returns come in after 7:30 when polls close, expect a big push to be Biden votes. That will include absentee early mail-in ballots that would be among the first to run through the system. And then it'll be a watch through the night to see if President Trump can chip away at what is expected to be that Biden lead if it goes as expected. So this will be a state to watch where the story may change as the night evolves. Eamon?
All right, that was the wraparound from across the country at this hour. Kelly O'Donnell, Gabe Gutierrez, Bonnie Hilliard, and Dasha Burns. Thank you to all of you. Up next, I'll be joined by Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. How does she see the Progressive Caucus evolving after tonight? You're watching MSNBC.
So they're going to be discussing the Progressive Caucus on MSNBC coming up on after their break. CNN right now is on a commercial. They're saying that CNN is America's Choice 2020. Let's see what Fox talking about, child.
Even the numbers of National Guard or the locations, and the Justice Department, as is traditional, is also monitoring polling sites in Florida. The polls across this state with 2 time zones will shut down 8 p.m. Eastern time. There was a tight battle 4 years ago. President Trump winning by just 1%. We could see an early indication since Florida has begun processing early votes more than 2 weeks ago. Bill, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. I want to bring in the Republican Governor, Ron DeSantis, who joins me now. Sir, good afternoon to you.
They saying that Donald Trump going to win Florida?
The in-person voting's been open for 9 hours in Florida. What are you hearing on the ground?
Well, Bill, we went into this election with Democrat ballots outnumbering.
Hey, baby, how you doing, Viper Sniper? Much love to you too, baby. I've missed you. How you been? I hope you all right, my love. I hope that you're doing all right. I'm just sitting up here chilling, playing the news in the background. Maybe somebody might show up. Maybe they won't. It's all good. You know me, baby. I holds it down over here on Nicole Reloaded. I love my people, but if my people are busy and doing other things, I don't trip. I can come on and have a conversation. My people eventually get it. Whoever's meant to be will hear my voice. I ain't even tripping, man. I'm a real content creator. I don't need a crowd. You know what I'm saying, baby? I love you too. Shout out to Periscope. What's cracking, my Twitter followers? Y'all my family, though. Y'all not my followers. Y'all my family. I need the real deal Holyfield. So let's see what's going down in Florida, y'all. I hope y'all can hear. Y'all more than go ahead and twerk on that link. Don't be scared now. If you're scared, like I said, go to church.
We had the guard out for the protest in June, and we were able to get through that. So I think hopefully everything will be okay.
How you
We
doing,
just have to be
Jeffrey?
prepared, and we're going to defend our citizens if we need to.
Anecdotally, we are.
Well, thank you. You're quite handsome yourself. Is that your picture? Because that's my picture. Did you go out and vote, Mr. Jeffrey? Hold on, a handsome black man that walked in the room. I might have to turn this down. You can share this video out for me if you would like to, Jeffrey. I would truly appreciate it. And follow me on other social media platforms, which is available in the About section. But for now, you can slide that thumbs up. So, did you go out and vote, Mr. Jeffrey Shorts? Did you vote? And if you want to, you can share who you voted for. But if you don't, you don't have to. I don't care if you voted who you voted for, as long as you got up and you went to vote. That's all I care about. Everybody has a right to choose who they want to vote for. Ooh, Viper Sniper said, "Ooh, you sound so sexy." Maybe because I'm on my phone and I'm not on my laptop. When I'm on my laptop, I be yelling. Well, I talk really loud because I don't think y'all can hear me. So, and I be, I be getting up and moving around. I don't want to move this around because if I, what's up, Fossil Creek? What's going on, baby? How you doing? You finally got a notification. Okay, okay. Fossil Creek said he voted for Trump. My day is going good, Jeffrey Short. Jeffrey Short said, yes, he did vote. Viper Sniper said, ooh, Nicole Reloaded sounds sexy. He's giving me love. Y'all make sure you thumbs up this video and share it out. Jeffrey Short said, did you vote for Trump? Jeffrey Short, were you a bad boy? That must mean you have money in the bank. You voted for Trump. I know that the brothers, a lot of the black brothers, oh Lord, now if this camera slip, they is gonna put me on Lipstick Alley. They're gonna be like, Nicole titties is big. We can't be having that. Let me move this camera out the way, child. And the beeping that you hear in the background, that is not my smoke detector. That is my alarm system. So anytime my children move throughout the house, if they get towards the back door, so I know if they're going out, it'll go beep beep. Okay. Well, shoot. Well, since you can vote for Trump, can you $ Nicole Reloaded on a Cash App? I mean, I'm just saying, since you can afford to vote for Trump and all, you can hook your girl up, or you know what I'm saying? Spoil a pretty lady. Ain't nothing wrong with spoiling a pretty lady. You know what I'm saying? How have you been, Mr. Creek Kennels? How have you been? Well, I'm pretty sure I know why you voted, brother, for Donald Trump. You're a businessman. A lot of people are, frustrated with the Democratic Party, unfortunately. They don't feel like there actually has been change. And there's people that are extremely frustrated with Donald Trump and his actions, and that how they feel. I say that they feel that he is not empathetic to the process. And some people feel Trump has the aggressiveness and the style to be able to get business deals done. Other people are excited because Kamala Lee is allegedly an African American woman, but her father's from Jamaica. I don't know. You got to do the fact searching yourself. Oh, you said it's in the mail. Oh, so you gonna send me a check in the mail? Jeffrey Short. Okay, I'll be waiting. I didn't know you had my address, but okay, I'll be patient, baby. It's all good. I know. Have you been getting my comments, Mr. Kennels, Mr. Brian? Have you been getting my I've been leaving you I left you several comments. I know on some channels, I think that I might be shadowed or whatever, so you can't see me sometimes. But I was in the live where you guys did where the dog got bit by the snake. Yeah, y'all check out Mr. Fossil Creek Kennels. hmm I don't know. You'll be surprised. There's a lot of people that voted for Trump that you'll be very, very, very surprised. Very, very, very surprised. I'm down as a Democrat, but I tried to get them to change me to an independent, and all hell broke loose. I'm telling you, knock, knock, knock at the door, Democrat after Democrat after Democrat. I mean, phone call after phone call after phone call after phone call after phone call every day for like the last, especially the last week, it's been blowing up. And if my house phone rings, it will be somebody trying to ask me if I voted, because my kids are registered to vote. My oldest daughters, they're not babies anymore. They're old enough to vote. So they wanted this house. They wanted our votes, man. You know. Hey, the Yahshua Hamashiach has the choice in who actually ultimately wins the race anyway. So the Heavenly Father, our Lord Jesus Christ, the one that died on the cross, rose again on the third day, and that Jesus is the Son of God, He's the one that's going to make the ultimate decision, the ultimate decision. It's all going to fall in God's plan. That's what I believe. That's what I receive. And I'm sharing that with you. Those are not my words. That is Bible. Get you a holy Bible, a Hebrew Bible, and sit down and read it and ask the Lord to open your mind and your heart. Because in the days that are coming are going to be hard, hard times. And if you don't unify with your people, you're going to be at a loss. But you better especially unify with the Lord Jesus Christ. Okay, Keno said his was better of the two, in my opinion. I don't agree with all his runnings of his mouth, but his last 4 years, our economy has been awesome, better than it's been in over 20 years. Uh-oh, there go the phone. See, that's somebody calling from the election right now. I told y'all. Jeffrey Short says truth. So he agrees with you. Or, yeah, yeah, there's a lot of people that feel that way, you know. And a lot of people don't even want to admit who they voted for because they don't want to get the kickback. They don't want, you know what I'm saying? So here it go for you. Here, there go the president. That's for your vote. But look, I'm telling y'all, we gotta be strong. We gotta stay unified, man. We have to come together. That's the kind of people that I want in my life that are willing to fight for what they believe in, that can logically think, utilize critical thinking, have a spiritual relationship so we can uplift each other, because the days, regardless is who will become the next president of the United States, we are going to be going through trials and tribulations. That's just a fact. It's in the Bible. Yes, if I accidentally turn this camera on, you're going to see nothing but titties. Okay. And I do not want my account taken down. Okay. So, yes. hmm That is true. Y'all want to get on? Y'all want some? What y'all want? Y'all want some rain? Let me give y'all something pretty. Okay, y'all come with me and let's sit out here in this beautiful swamp together and let's talk about this election, y'all. Did you seen it? That little Giphy of Donald Trump is too cute, ain't it? Oh, my baby is. Oh, Lord Jesus. You hear my child? Help me, Lord. Okay, voting underway as at first polls close in just over 2 hours. Y'all better hurry up and get down there and vote.
You have how many polls close at each hour, and then obviously some of them we may know the answer to right then, and others we may not know for quite some time because of these lags in counting votes.
Exactly. Take a look at the poll closings in the most critical battleground states. And what you see right away is that earlier in the evening, you've got North Carolina and Georgia at 7, North Carolina at 7:30, Ohio at 7:30, and Florida at 8, though most of the state closes at 7. So just those first 4 states there, all states Donald Trump won 4 years ago, but states that actually can get the count out, Aaron, and will be counting early pre-election absentee mail vote as well, that will be infused into the results. And if we see Joe Biden doing really well in those states, that can indicate that perhaps it's not going to be some long dragged out for days just waiting on Pennsylvania. Now, if we see Donald Trump holding that territory, then it perhaps will indicate to us, we may be waiting on those Midwestern Rust Belt states that will take a little longer to count. So I think that the early Sun Belt states there that close are going to give us the indication, are we in for a long haul here, or might this thing actually make itself clear sooner than we initially expected?
Right. And as you point out, even if Trump wins one of those states, but it's extremely tight, and to your point about demographics, that may give you an indication of where another state is going.
Yeah, without a doubt, because what you look for is sort of patterns, right? So if you see sort of demographic groups in the suburbs are behaving one way in North Carolina, perhaps the suburbs are behaving similarly in Georgia or elsewhere.
Right. This is going to be the crucial thing as we are now just a couple hours away from those first polls closing, Kentucky among them. All right, thank you very much, David Chalian, and thank you for joining us. Our special coverage of Election Night in America continues right now.
Well, it's 1 o'clock here, so it's 4 o'clock on the East Coast.
Is at a crossroads. We're counting down to the first exit polls and the first results as our coverage begins now.
Oh, yay!
In red states and blue states.
More election coverage. Did you cast your vote today? Did you cast your vote today? Is your life going to be better if you get Donald Trump, or will your life be better if you get Joe Biden? Who is going to make your life better? It's you that's going to make your life better. Is you out there hustling? Is you out there unifying with your people in your community? Is you opening up your heart and opening up your mind and your spirit? Now, everybody is concerned about, now, when you went and vote, I hope that y'all took your time and looked into the judges that are in your district. It took me 3.5 hours. I'm not going to lie. You can roast me if you want to. But it took me 3.5 hours, Lord. I had opened up that ballot. I said, oh, well, who I'm going to vote for? Jesus said, well, you got Joe Biden on the ticket. I said, well, Jesus, I'm not feeling Kamala, Lord. I thought she was an African-American woman. And then I did some research and found out what Kamala was involved in. Oh, yes. And when I looked, I said, damn, she locked up all my cousins on my biological family side. She locked up my daddy, too. Found out she locked him up for weed. Gave him many, many years, Lord. I said, Jesus, I don't want to pick Trump. Oh, no, please, Lord, because I don't like Mike Pence. He don't look like he know how to speak, Lord. Jesus said, well, I want you, Nicole, reloaded. I want you to go deep down in your spirit. And I want you to get on your knees and pray. I need you to fast for your Harris family and for the people that you love, dear. So I said, well, Jesus, I got on my knees. And when I got on my knees, I opened up my ballot and I seen all these judges from the Supreme Court in the district court. And then I grabbed my pen with tears in my eyes. I said, man, I've been in front of this district court judge before. Oh, yes. And this family court judge, too. I said, well, I might vote for this one, but this other one he can't do. So you better get your ass on your knees and ask the Heavenly Father to guide you. and get your ass out to them polls because it's only you that can prevent forest fires. Mm-hmm. Y'all like my praise? See, that's how you praise the Lord. Y'all don't know nothing about praising the Lord. Trying to teach y'all how to praise the Lord. Okay, Foster Creek said he's an outspoken president, Donald Trump, but his actions as one of the best presidents with the world's in the way it's at now. I pray that American people choose the best for our country, best interests. I'm proud of the American people. I'm very proud. I'm glad that we have a really awesome turnout. And regardless, I hope and pray because it's up to those judges, those district court judges, and the Supreme Court judges at the end of the day. Who did you pick? I hope that you picked wisely for your family. Okay? For your family, because what's for your family might not be for my family.
Especially in those key battleground states. Remember, even before today, more than 102 million Americans had already voted in person or by mail. That's adding to the unpredictability of this election. We don't know if we'll learn the winner tonight or tomorrow or possibly after that. We're going to let the voters lead the way, and we are going to be patient. Let's check in with our campaign correspondents. First to Jeff Delaney with former Vice President Biden in Wilmington, Delaware. Jeff, what are you hearing from inside the Biden campaign?
Well, Jake, Joe Biden had an air of confidence in his step today as he was out on the campaign trail. And that was the significant part. He was out on the campaign trail. That is something that he has missed throughout this pandemic when he has decided to campaign in an entirely different way. He wanted, I'm told, to hear the chants. He wanted to see the people. That is something that he loves to do. He loves campaigning, as we know. Of course, this is his third bid for the presidency, but this was entirely different. So he went to his hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania. He went to Philadelphia. He's even going to hold an event right here in Wilmington, Delaware, before retreating with his family. But Jake, that speaks to a larger point here. Democrats are confident heading into this election evening. The Biden campaign is confident, but there is a question. Was enough done? Because how they handled coronavirus essentially changed how they campaigned. They transitioned this to a virtual campaign some 8 months ago and largely stuck with that until the very end here. That, meant that Democrats were organizing in a very different way. The backbone of most winning Democratic campaigns have been door to door, on the ground. That's what won the White House for Barack Obama and the vice presidency for Joe Biden. So talking to campaign officials said, we have no regrets how we ran this campaign, but they do have wonders if they did the right thing and if the pandemic will impact their turnout tonight. Jake.
All right, Jeff Zeleny, thanks so much. Now to Caitlin Collins. She's covering President Trump. He's at the White House right now. Caitlin, what are you learning about the president's thinking?
Well, so far, Jake, he is not weighing considering giving a concession speech or an acceptance speech tonight because the president is deeply superstitious. So he is approaching this almost exactly the way he did 4 years ago in 2016 when there was no victory speech written for the president until much later into the evening. And even then, Jake, the president refused to look at that speech that aides had prepared for him because he was so worried that it would jinx the outcome of the election. So earlier today, he went to his campaign headquarters. He was not on the campaign trail like Joe Biden was, and he huddled with senior staff and then came out, said he is not considering either way. He is waiting to see what happens as he is being updated by officials who are at the campaign headquarters here at the White House on what's going on in those critical states and what they're seeing on the ground in places like Pennsylvania, somewhere the president has tried to sow doubt about how those votes are going to be counted in the days to come if it's not in his favor. So we do know there's plenty of celebration, some kind of event here at least at the White House tonight, Jake, where they invited hundreds of people who are going to be tested for coronavirus at the Trump Hotel beforehand. But the question is, when are they going to see the president and what is he going to say?
All right, Caitlin Collins at the White House, thank you so much. I'm here with Abby Phillip and Dana Bash. And Dana, it's nerve-wracking. The whole country's on the edge of their seats. What is the main thing right now that you're looking for? What are you looking to?
Well, maybe the obvious, which is turnout. And this is one of the most fascinating things that I've been watching. And as I've been in touch with sources in both campaigns, as I'm sure you both have as well, that so much of this is new because there was such record early voting because we're in a pandemic election. I mean, 100 million people voting early. And so what each side is trying to do, obviously, is to maximize their day of vote because they feel like they have a pretty good sense of the chunk of the vote that has come in. Not a real sense because They don't know exactly how each party, each voter, if they're affiliated with a party, actually voted, because this is a kind of a scrambled election. But that is what is going on right now. The Trump campaign in particular, they have turned their get out the vote operation on in a big way. They have volunteers who are coordinating other volunteers who are each assigned like 10 to 12 people, and to hammer them every single hour if they haven't voted, get out and vote. And we'll see if it ultimately is successful.
And of course, they have a lot of people that they have to do that for, because so many of their voters are going to show up on election day. They've got to follow up with a lot of these people to make sure that they get out there. And that's what makes the task for the Trump campaign today difficult. But what we're seeing across the country, the high turnout, I think it really is pointing to a really important factor. People will vote. You give them the opportunity to.
So true.
There is a lot of interest in this election on both sides of the aisle. And I think that we're going to see tonight potentially something scrambling conventional wisdoms about what turnout really means for both parties.
And it's interesting because I've seen a lot of Republican operatives not affiliated with the Trump campaign kind of wringing their hands at the fact that the Republican Party this election seems to be taking the position of making it less easy to vote, making it tougher to vote. And how is that a Republican position? How is that a Democratic position, small d Democratic?
Right.
The idea of a major party trying to make it tougher for the American people to exercise that sacred right.
Totally wringing their hands. It doesn't make any sense. It's not American. And just like you said, I mean, let's just say before we have any idea of what the votes are going to be, we do know that there is incredible enthusiasm. And how fabulous is that? I mean, I know I probably sound super corny, but it's true. It's really remarkable.
Get up to 65–70% participation.
Can you imagine that? The way it should be, even more. But the fact that we would even get to that point is pretty historic.
The idea that Americans don't want to vote is not the case. They do. They are. We could have 150, 160 million people going out and voting. The problem, though, with what President Trump did in this election in terms of trying to undermine the electoral system is the question about what happens tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Do Republicans double down on some of these positions that even Republican lawyers believe are really indefensible, because they are really aimed at preventing people from having access to the ballot? But we were just talking about turnout. President Trump wants his people to come out to the ballot and vote.
Right.
It does not make sense to make it harder for those people to vote either. So how long can that kind of position continue?
What are you looking for from in terms of if you were at Biden headquarters right now? I would be looking at, really honestly, you can talk about Georgia and Arizona all you want. I would be looking at Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, those three. If he wins those three and keeps the Clinton states,
it's all about the blue wall. I mean, yeah, sure, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, those would all be for Biden. Great if he could win them, but holding on to the blue wall is going to be the most important thing for him tonight, not just because of the path to 270, but also preserving that part of the country for the Democratic Party. It really ends a narrative that President Trump wants, which is that he has changed the map permanently.
And I'll go even deeper into those states and others, which is the urban areas. I would be looking, and they are looking, we know this, at the turnout levels in Philadelphia, in Pittsburgh, in Detroit.
And the suburbs.
Yeah. The suburbs are so incredibly key for a couple of reasons. One is Hillary Clinton did well in the suburbs, but not well enough, not enough to counterbalance the unprecedented turnout that Donald Trump had in Republican territories. And as we know, and as the Trump campaign will tell you in private moments, the suburbs, they're not the place for Donald Trump anymore. We saw that in 2018, and it hasn't changed in 2020.
All right, Wolf.
All right, Jake, thanks very much. John King's with me over here at the Magic Wall. We're going to be spending a lot of time at this Magic Wall in the first of the next many.
Oh, Lord, you trying to get me hurt. Brian, Mr. Creek Kennels. I'm afraid to actually even say either way. I might get beat down by either side. I'll just say, no, I voted for Trump. I did. I voted for Trump, but I picked all Democratic. I voted for Trump, and then I picked all Democratic. And then I picked the best judges. And the reason why is because the history of Kamala Harris. I do like Joe Biden. Um, I wanted to vote mask, mask, mask. She wanted to follow you. You got to put a mask on. You can't go outside without a mask. Where's she going? Yeah. But I did a lot of history and stuff, and when I found out about Kamala's history and the part about adoptions and things that went down in California, the Planned Parenthood, the arrest. Um, my family is from California, my biological family, and I just was very upset about that. And I thought, if God forbid, if Joe Biden was to pass away, I wouldn't want for her to be president. If he would have picked a different um, person on the ticket, I probably most likely would have went with Joe Biden. But I did go Democratic all the way down. But I picked Donald Trump for president. I know my head gonna get ripped off for that, but that's my truth. That is my truth. My my daughter picked Joe Biden. My other daughter picked Trump, and my other daughter picked Trump. So, and my baby girl, she want Joe Biden to win. So may God have mercy on America. I think that people look at the president of the United States as if he's a god. I mean, all of the COVID has been a disaster for around the world. Let's be very clear, very clear on that. It has been a disaster. There's been many people that have been hurt, many people that have lost matrons in their family, devastation, loss of jobs. I mean, you name it. But there has been some things that have been put in place by the federal government for businesses and business loans and stuff like that. And I think the Republican Party for the business loans and the large amounts of loans for people that would have totally have lost every single thing. We would have had a second stimulus check if it wasn't for Nancy Pelosi. She could have been on just a few things, but I could be wrong because they're constantly doing updates and so on and so forth. But you have to do what's best for your family. And if someone is not going to like me for what I believe is best, because I believe the Bible says that God said that Jesus said that he swears, right? That he swears, SWEAR, that he swears that he will bless you. So if you have the Father at the head of your household, the head of your heart, your mind, your body, and your soul, and you do what you believe is right in concordance with the law of the land in the Lord Jesus in your heart and no unforgiveness, God is going to make you through. I believe that. I have no choice but to believe that. If I didn't believe that, I would be dead. Does that? Thank you once again, y'all. Y'all listening to your girl Nicole Reloaded. We locked and loaded with another video. Make sure that you thumbs up, share, and like. And if you want to do your girl some justice, because unfortunately my videos are very hard to be visible due to the fact of false flagging, being ostracized on YouTube. Yes, Nicole Reloaded is being ostracized. No, I'm not crying like a baby, but I have a lot of people that claim that they hate me based on the affiliation of who I'm affiliated with, instead of getting to know me and loving on me and stepping out and saying, hey, what's up, Nicole Reloaded? I would like to have a conversation with you. Okay. And I do need to change my email because my email is full to capacity. So I don't even know if any of my emails will even come through. So I'm gonna have to change my email address and figure until I can clean out my Nicole's Reloaded at gmail.com. I don't know if they will hold the emails in a quince or whatever. I did buy a terabyte, but I don't know if I can add my other Gmail accounts onto there. I mean, when you're a real content creator, you need a lot of storage for news and things like that you would like to share. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons, Brian, you haven't seen probably hardly ever get any notifications from me, boo, because I'm shadowed. They shadow banned a lot of my videos due to false flagging. So hopefully one day, by God's grace, that will be lifted. Oh, Joe Biden is talking. Hold on. Let's see what he said.
They announced
Shut up.
Way off pace. And by the way, I'm not being critical of anybody else. I'm just saying that I believe very, very strongly, not very mean, that we have to restore decency and honor in our system, or it's going to fall apart. Secondly, I believe extremely strongly, and I know you've all watched it from the very beginning, that we have to rebuild the middle class. We have to give ordinary people a fighting chance. They can do anything when you give them a chance. And thirdly, we have to unite the country. Well, all three of those things are viewed as either too much of a reach or not a reach enough. And I haven't changed my view. And
the sad thing, Brian, I really I felt guilty in a sense. I've been a Democrat ever since, I was a young woman, and I felt like I violated my people or something by making that choice. It was very, very difficult for me. It was very emotional. It was one of the hardest voting decisions I've ever made. I feel that I've made in my life. But this was the first time that I actually really voted based on facts, on the most facts that I could put, that my brain could retain without me having a nervous breakdown. It was a very, very difficult decision. I didn't pick until probably an hour before I dropped off my ballot. And I actually made my baby do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. As God is my witness, she went eeny, meeny, miny, mo, pick on Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and it landed on Donald Trump. If it would have landed on Joe Biden, it would have been Joe Biden. I couldn't. It was just a very emotional. It was very, very difficult. And when I look at him and I see Kamala, I feel like I feel guilty, like I did something wrong or something. But that's emotion. Emotion is not what get us Supreme Court justices. Getting out on the ground and campaigning and fighting for laws, because who was really important was picking who's going to be in the Supreme Court in your district. Because if your family have to go through some stuff, you might have to go to the Supreme Court. I hope people studied these judges, because those judges were very important on that ballot. And I didn't play no games. I researched every single judge that was on that darn ballot and prayed that I made the best decision for my family. That's right, Chocolate. Tell them, Chocolate.
All the 13 lifeguards I worked with, all of them became really successful in their lives. And but it was interesting that we'd sit and talk, and they'd ask me.
I probably lose all my subscribers now, huh, Brian?
Jamie asked me, "Do you have a jerry can, meaning a 5-gallon can for gasoline?" I said, "No, what do you need a jerry can for? I'm going to go see my grandmother." I said, "What's she need it for her? Walmart or something?" No.
And it's not like I don't dislike Joe Biden. I don't dislike Kamala. I don't dislike her. But decisions that she made in California had effects on my family that currently on my biological side that are still being affected today. And I had a very hard time saying, gosh, if Joe was to pass, if she was the president of the United States. Now, the president can't make any decisions without Senate. Okay, they need Senate and they need the Congress. So that's the reason why I said, if it does land on whatever, I still was going to go straight down Democrat. Period. This was an independent vote. It was independent, and I just hope that people can respect and understand. And I understand why Why? And there's so much more information that I found out about the Black Lives. I stand for Black Lives Matter. I stand for Black people's lives being important. Yes. I stand for all people that want to live under the glory of, of the glory of God, not people that, not saying that, I mean, I have love. God said we're supposed to love all fellow man. It's not for me to judge. You know what I'm saying? But you're supposed to come up among those that are not, you know what I'm saying? That's not, they doing all that evil stuff. You're supposed to, dip set and pray for them and, get on, You are like the people, you are like the people you hang with in instance. The bird don't fall too far from the tree, so on and so forth. Nobody forced me to make this decision. Nobody, it was up to me. It's my brain. I can think for myself. I don't know why people think that I can't. I guess it's because I have such a young, pretty face. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they think I don't know how to think for myself because I'm so cute. Okay, chocolate. Okay, you want to hear Joe Biden, chocolate? Okay, here, baby. Come here.
No, I don't. I mean, look, it depends on what he says and how he says it. But
oh, did y'all hear that not Joe Biden, that Donald Trump is super, like, has superstitions, and that he does not have he is not conceding. He ain't gonna have no concession speech. They're saying that all the votes, unless it's a landslide, that it's not going to, that they're not going to, we might don't even have the answer of who the winner is going to be today. Oh, Lord. Mm-mm-mm. Hold on, what my brother say? Hold on, what my brother say? Let me find your brother. What you say? Yay. Okay. Wait. Let me read this out loud again. Brian Fossil Creek Kennel said, Trump is for the people. He has always been this country. On the other hand, Nancy and her cornies have been at his throat for day one. It shows how the American people, what we are in for if Joe wins. You also say, I'm still here, sweetie. People will fall off and you will gain the respect of others. We can't. Make and keep everyone happy. Nicole, we're not perfect. Only the Almighty God. That's right, my brother. That is right. That is right, baby. That is right. That is a beautiful comment. That is a beautiful comment. Thank you, my brother. I love you.
you can't think of an election.
I'm just staying on Boo, listening to the, you know what I'm saying? Listening to the news, just tinkering around. You know what I'm saying? If you got something to do, don't let me hold you up, my love.
I mean, come on.
And if you can share me out, that would be sweet. If you can't, I understand.
Well, but there's also been other traditions. They haven't been able to win unless they won Pennsylvania. There's all kinds of traditions. The only thing you know is traditions are made to be broken. There's just so much in play right now, and there's such overwhelming vote out there. We'll see. And if there's something to talk about tonight, I'll talk about it. If not, I'll wait till the votes are counted the next day. Okay? Thank you.
So
okay.
Answering the reporter's questions, he's been doing that a few times in the course of today, saying he's superstitious, doesn't want to make any predictions about what's going to happen later tonight. We're getting closer and closer to our first exit polls, including insights into how the coronavirus pandemic is influencing voters. And as we watch the election day turn.
Okay, so 33 minutes until they're going to start counting. Oh Lord, some of the election places are going to be closing at 4 p.m. So they're going to start the counting. Oh Lord Jesus, it looked like I'm waiting to see at the doctor's office. Is it a boy or is it a girl? Is it a boy? Is it a girl? Is it a boy? Is it a girl? Oh my God. Did he cheat or didn't he cheat? Did he cheat or didn't he cheat? Oh my God. This is nerve-wracking. Oh, you his cousin? Oh, I am sorry. didn't warn you and tell you that that I wear glasses. I don't have my glasses on. Brian, I'm so sorry. Brian, forgive me. I forgot. I forgot. I'm so sorry. I feel well, you can't go live yet? How come you can't go live? You know, if you download the Prism app from the Google Play Store, you can go live. Yes, you can. Download the Prism app and you will be able to go live, my dear, before you get to your 1,000 or however many it makes you have. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm not Finley. This is not Finley Rivers Kennels. I'm his cousin. You thinking of Jeff? When you said live streaming, I can't go live yet. Oh. Oh. That's what I'm gonna blame my vote on. I'm gonna be like, I voted for Trump because I didn't have my glasses on. Yes, download the Prism. Download the Prism app. If that doesn't work for you, download Stream Labs. Stream, not Stream Yards. Stream Labs. I thought, I thought I was. Hey, well, you family over here too, Brian, so it don't matter. I done confessed my soul. I thought I was talking to Jeff, but I was talking to his cousin. Damn, I can't see. I'm blind as a bat. Help me, Jesus. And the whole time I've been talking to you for damn near an hour, and I thought I was talking to your cousin. Oh Lord, let's turn this back up.
Are looking to North Carolina and Georgia to see if those flip Biden. What are you hearing from your reporting that folks are looking at in terms of the map?
Well, first of all, I'd say, I'll go through the order that you went through, Nicole. I think there's definitely the case that Florida, that Florida is not a must-win for Joe Biden. There's no doubt about that, because the easiest way for Joe Biden to get to 270 electoral votes is to win those three states in the Great Lakes, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, that Donald Trump won by less than 1% in each case in 2016. Joe Biden.
Well, do me a favor, leave some comments and stuff underneath my videos so I can share you out and tell people to subscribe to you so you can get to your 100, baby, okay? I'll help you. You support me, I support you, love. We'll get you to your 1K. I'm very good at getting people their last 100. That's my specialty. Okay, well try Prism. You'll like Prism. It's easier than Streamlabs. And if you have a hard time on that, just go on YouTube and Google how to use Prism. It's pretty easy. It's not that hard. Just be patient with it, and then you'll be able to go live. Oh, I didn't put it on mute. Brian, can you hear the TV? Hold on. I can't find the mute button either. Where's the mute button? I can't see it. Because I had tears in my eyes. I laughed so hard I had tears in my eyes. What happened? Oh, I paused it.
Joe Biden, traditionally Democratic states, Joe Biden brings them back in the Democratic column, and that's it. He's got 270 electoral votes. That's the easiest path. The complication there is that all three of those states have told us that they are not going to have a result tonight. And that's not a problem. That's not a defect. They are just dealing with a lot of early vote. It's going to take them some time to count those votes. Their systems are set up. Sometimes they don't have a result on election night. And so it's going to take some days. Donald Trump's going to make hay out of that, though. We've seen him already doing it. So that's a little bit of a complexity there. And it's why the Biden campaign, though it does not need Florida, has put a lot of effort and energy into Florida because of the fact that, as Eugene says, if they could get Florida, it would end the night early. And I think everyone on the Democratic side feels that, and even some Republicans you talk to, feel like it would be good for the country to not have a long, drawn-out process of litigation and Donald Trump chicanery, if you could just know on election night who had won. And so there's been a lot of focus on Florida. And I'll just say this, it's true. It was true going into last weekend that most people thought Donald Trump had a narrow advantage here. Democrats had a very good weekend this weekend in terms of early vote. Barack Obama closed here last night. There was a reason why he closed here last night, because I think the Biden people did at the very end here think that there's it's about as close to a 50-50 thing as there could be. Yeah. But I don't think anyone in the Biden world would be surprised tonight if they end up actually winning Florida.
John Hyman, Eugene Robinson, A.B. Stoddard, three of my favorite people to talk to on TV and off. Thank you so much for starting us off.
I would be shocked if he won. If Joe Biden wins Florida, you might as well count it. It's over. That's what my prediction is. He wins. You know how hard it is to win Florida, to be a Democrat and win Florida? Child, please. Yes, you have. Yes, you have, Brian. He said, thank you. I've been connected with you for a long time. I think I met you in, yes, Miss Coco Live once. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, baby. We used to always hang out over on Coco. I was just thinking about her. She just popped in my head. That's funny that you mentioned her. I just thought about her just now before I even read your comment. And I wonder how she's doing. I love her. Coco is beautiful. She's a beautiful, beautiful sister. She's very sweet. Very sweet. Doing parties and stuff and helping people get to their 1,000. We used to have fun. And then all this drama. Do you ever get any notifications from me, Brian? My dogs are crying.
Try Jesus, not me, 'cause I throw hands.
Try Jesus, don't try me, 'cause Nicole will whoop your ears.
What's up? You hear that new Kurt Franklin?
Do you want a revolution? Oh, she hasn't been on in a while. Oh, okay. Oh, she's doing all right. I'm gonna reach out to her and see how she's doing. I hope she's doing good. Yeah, we need to check on our sister and see how she's doing. Let me let my dogs out real quick. Hold on real quick, baby. Let me see if I can turn something on. It'll be playing in the background. Let's see what they're talking about on Fox. Okay, it's all commercials. Hold on, Chocolate. You want to go outside and play? Oh, well, I appreciate it. Brian said, yes, Mama. I get your notifications. I'm normally busy, but I was off work today and thought I would come and show you some love. Well, I really appreciate it. I need all the love I can give, boo. I really do. Can you let the Dumb and Dumber out for a minute? Hand me my Perrier water. You can't get it open? Try at the bottom. Thank you. Don't close it. Just close the screen. The screen. Don't close the door. Just close the screen. You so skinny, you can slide right through there. Hand me my Perrier water, babe. And Cheyenne grounded. What is she doing outside? Go get her bad butt. And put your mask on. Sorry about that, boo. Okay. I got a sweet tooth, knowing damn well I'm not supposed to be eating no sweets. I want some sweets, child. Oh, Lord. Okay, let's see what they're talking about.
An impressive view. Look at this of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in the White House as Americans are deciding who will serve in the White House for the next 4 years. We're standing by for our first exit.
You ain't the only one that need their hair done. Brian said, I need to go cut my hair, sweetie. My clippers just came in the mail. I need to cut this mop off my head. Well, enjoy yourself and you have a wonderful day. I'll check you out and see your fresh haircut. Make sure you do it right now. Don't come on here with one side longer than the other and they gonna roast you. All right, boo. I'll be here.
I'm going to just pick a state. Let's say Georgia. We don't know how Georgia's going to end up tonight, right? The Biden campaign says they're competitive there. They believe there's African-American turnout that could make Georgia blue. But let's say Georgia out of the box, the first dump of votes is overwhelmingly mail-in at early voting. Well, that we know is disproportionately Democratic. So you might see in a place like Georgia, even in places that are outside of the cities, you might see a lot of blue on this map, not just in Georgia, but other states as well, in places that are normally red. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Just means the first thing they process were the absentee votings or the mail-in votes, and we know that those are disproportionately Democrat. The flip side of that, Wolf, is we know, for example, there are at least a half dozen counties, maybe more in Pennsylvania, that have said they're overwhelmed on election day. They're not going to count those mail-in ballots, the early ballots, until very late tonight. Some of them say they won't even start until tomorrow morning. So what does that mean? You may see parts of this map. Now, Donald Trump had a lot of red here to begin with, but you may see the margins lopsided because it's all election day votes that we're getting early on. So you may see, let's see how many Democrats turned out today. But you may see places on the map in a place like Pennsylvania, but even in states that are just not traditionally battlegrounds. You might see blue in states that are normally red. You might see red in places that are normally blue. Perfectly understandable. We're just going to have to walk through this. We'll be transparent about what we know. Are these early ballots? That's why there's a lot of blue. Is this all election day count? That's why it looks like it looks. We're going to have to walk through this night. It will be like no other, and we'll just get through it. But we also will get clues. They're all, and by the way, everything you see once the polls close is live votes. They're real votes. They just may come in sort of an odd order that make things interesting. But remember 2016, though, when we do start to get votes in Kentucky, Ohio starts to close early. Remember back in 2016, the first signs that Donald Trump was turning out Republican voters beyond expectation came right along here when we first got the results of Kentucky, up here along the Ohio border, places like Bracken County. No, tiny, right? 106 out of 120 counties in terms of the population. It was not going to change the state, and we knew Kentucky was going to go red, but what did we learn? Donald Trump was running it up. That people were coming out of the woodwork, and that he was by significant margins overperforming past Republican nominees. Inroads in blue-collar, white, rural America that helped Donald Trump to his victory. Why did that matter? We knew Kentucky was going to go red 4 years ago, but there were voters just like that in Southern Ohio. And we started to see that as well. And guess what? If you follow it over, there are voters just like that in southwestern Pennsylvania. That was the first sign of the night. So that's what we'll be looking for tonight when we start to get votes out of Kentucky, out of Indiana, out of Ohio, match those counties up, especially the small rural places. One of the key tests tonight, can Donald Trump surge turnout on election day? We'll get some early clues in those results. And then Pam was talking earlier about other results, we do expect North Carolina. There's a delay in reporting the results because they're keeping some precincts open a little bit longer. But once those results do come, this will be a key test. We know in 2018, the suburbs revolted against President Trump. Does that continue? Donald Trump narrowly carried the suburbs 4 years ago. One of the reasons he won North Carolina, pretty close election there. So what are we going to watch? We're going to watch Mecklenburg County. This is absolutely essential for the Democrats. Does the African-American turnout in Charlotte go higher than that? You see the numbers. Joe Biden needs to have seen Hillary Clinton's raw vote numbers, but there's also a ton of growing suburbs around here. What is Donald Trump's number in the suburbs? That's one place to look. Another place to look, one of the fastest growing areas of America up here, Raleigh-Durham, the suburbs around here. So you bring up Wake County here. This is absolutely critical. You see 58 to 38, right? 20 points 4 years ago. How is Joe Biden doing here compared to Hillary Clinton? Or the flip side of that, how is Donald Trump doing there compared to Donald Trump? The fast-growing suburbs up here, they're more diverse, they're younger, they're more college-educated. They are the very voters who revolted against the Republican Party in 2018. We will get in these early states, North Carolina among them, some early clues, and then we'll just watch it out as we follow across the country.
Even in a traditionally red state like Kentucky, we'll get some early results coming in. Will we get a sense of how Biden is doing based on the early results we're seeing in a red state like Kentucky?
Yeah, so let's go back to Kentucky and let's pop out. Again, we've had every expectation that Kentucky will stay red this year. Let's see. We're open to surprises, right? We're always open to surprises in elections. Remember, the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, is running for re-election in Kentucky. He has every expectation to win re-election in a relatively close race that he expects to win. However, this is why we're here. It's election night. We get surprised sometimes. So what are we going to look for there? Number one, I just mentioned these smaller counties up here. This is Cincinnati. Some of these northern Kentucky counties here, like Kenton, this is the Cincinnati suburbs, essentially. It's over the state line into Kentucky. But let's watch. You see it here, 59-33. If you move over, you come over here, Campbell County, 59-34. Is Joe Biden doing better just across the border here? If so, that tells you he's probably going to do better in southern Ohio as well, in the suburbs around Cincinnati. There's a big House district at play in the suburbs around Cincinnati as well. Plus, we'll see this. When you come into places like Fayette County, this is Lexington, Hillary Clinton won it, but look at the margin, 10-point margin there, 9-point margin if you round. So this will be absolutely critical to see. And again, it may not swing Kentucky, but is African-American turnout up? And in all the suburbs around here, a lot of suburbs around Lexington, a lot of suburbs around Louisville as well. Is Joe Biden overperforming Hillary Clinton? Or if you want to flip it, is President Trump underperforming, especially in the suburban areas? Kentucky will give us an early test, even though we do not think it'll be a swing state tonight.
The polls close in Kentucky in an hour and 15 minutes, 6 p.m. Eastern, so we'll get some results. Then coming up, the big reveal of our first exit polls. We're going to get insight into how the night will potentially play out. We'll be back in a moment.
In New York.
Of our first exit polls, we're going to get insight into how the night will potentially.
This is a way about how the next day or the next several weeks go.
Jeremy Bash and Peter Baker, I know one thing for sure, no matter what happens tonight, we will be calling on both of you to talk us through it early and often. Thank you both for making time for us today. Up next for us, we'll get a sense of the fork in the road. These candidates are out for just a few hours until polls close on this election day 2020. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's like meat.
Boarding up, worried about potential violence or disturbances with one side or the other that not be pleased with results. That is, even if we get those results one way or the other tonight. Mayor Pete Buttigieg, of course, the former presidential candidate, on the worries about that. Mayor, very good to have you. I was thinking about it because I finished recently your book, Trust, America's Best Chance. I'm like, we didn't get into the violence issues per se. One of the things that stands out is the fact that there comes a time when people just have to kind of calm down, look back at our past, look to getting over our differences. I don't know if tonight's going to be the night for that, or even this week. Are you worried when you see what you're seeing now with stores boarding things up, worried that it could get nasty?
Well, I think there is that concern, and I appreciate you taking an interest in what I was writing about, the importance of the role of those who lose, accepting the results. That's actually one of the most important functions in democracy. Look, I've been in elections where I win and elections where I've lost, and obviously winning's a lot more fun, but we need to accept the results of what our democratic system has presented us with. I don't care which side you're on or who got the upper hand. That's just fundamental to who we are. I do believe that we're capable of doing this. Look, this country's held elections during pandemics, during wars, and we've come through it. But there are going to be a lot of people, either way, who will be upset. And I'm also concerned that if we don't get results right away, some folks might get more and more agitated. You got to remember that it's taking a little while to get a final result. That's because people are doing their job, counting the ballots with integrity, making sure every ballot gets counted.
You do address in the book that social media, which is interesting, the timing, because I assume you wrote this before all the latest stuff, the dust-ups and the concerns, and whether Facebook, Twitter, some of these others are deliberately biased against conservatives. I don't want to get into that as much as I want to get into how a Biden administration, if it came to that, I know that's your wish, but you really tell whether it's going to happen, should they be policed beyond just the bias issue that or to the fact that they've gotten too big for their britches and that they feed this uproar on either side.
I want your hair covered.
Yeah, so there's a whole set of issues around tech that are going to have to, they're going to require a lot of policy work. One of them is the monopoly issue, right? The fact that they've gotten so big that they're using that to crush competition. There's a case against Google, Google on other spaces, but they're not the only tech company that's going to face these issues. And we do need that to get more serious about monopoly law. That's kind of separate from the other issue you raised, which is what's going on with the content. Obviously, some really complicated First Amendment issues here because free speech is so important. And at the same time, I think these
why are you smashing my chip?
Responsibility.
Why are you doing that?
In the same way that your
you
network
picked it up and smashed it. Now don't touch the rest of them. No, put it, eat it. You're smashing them.
That's slanderous or libelous or
yeah, hand me my beef jerky.
Tech companies kind of want to have it both ways, right? They want to say, we're just like a bulletin board. We don't take any responsibility. We're just, where people put things and it's got nothing to do with us. And at the same time, they actually make more money.
Did you eat it all?
Controversial, because that's what our eyeballs go to. That's how the
Did you eat it all?
I do think we're going to have an updated.
Where's the rest of it at?
Not a government saying what you can't.
Did you eat the rest of the beef jerky today?
First Amendment.
That was on the counter.
Just a different level of responsibility.
How many beef jerky got the cabinet?
On the sort of stuff they push,
It's
especially
right over there.
Misinformation doing harm.
When we talk about the results tonight, Mayor, and how long it could drag on, and it's incumbent on each side, obviously, to practice and really try to live up to just waiting until the results are final. But this could drag on for quite a while if there are lawsuits. I was reading somewhere, I could be wrong there, that there were 200 lawsuits that can be filed in various states to challenge whatever the results are. That means this could make the 2000 experience seem like a cakewalk. How do you urge both sides just to calm down?
Yeah, I think, again, it's partly by appealing to our American values. The idea that even as bitterly divided as we've gotten to be politically, we have a fundamental commitment to the idea of democracy, that the voters decide. And, there is going to be a lot of noise. My hope is we'll have a decisive result fairly soon, but, that really comes down to a handful of states, and we just don't know yet. And so I think it's a matter of remembering that we're going to get through this. Of course, I'm worried about the president's supporters who may struggle to accept the fact that he's always been underwater on approval, and yet I think many of them would be shocked to see him lose. On our side, of course, there would be enormous concern about people who feel like their safety as Americans is at stake. If there were to be 4 more years under this president. But at the end of the day, this is why we have an election. And I believe this is why we're going to win the election. But at the end of the day, this is about the voters, not about who declares what or what kind of noise politicians make. I'm also concerned about the court cases, especially if they have the effect of trying to stop valid voters from having their votes counted. I think that's obviously only a strategy you would adopt if you think you're not going to win over most voters. And my hope is at the end, at the end of all this, we reach the conclusion that the best way for campaigns to strategize is around persuading voters, not discouraging or discounting votes.
Yeah, and everyone's staying calm in the process. Mayor Pete Buttigieg, very, very nice having you. Thank you for taking the time, sir.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, Mayor Pete Buttigieg. All right, the read on how things might be going in Wisconsin right now, a true battleground state. The president won it 4 years ago. How are things looking now? State's former governor on that. Answer this.
You can worry about doing well among immigrants, because immigrants who've had this experience with socialism are very, very concerned about what they're seeing in the Democratic Party.
I think that's why trying to tar Biden is something that's been such a big part of the strategy. He's not social. But what's interesting is there are some troubling signs in Miami-Dade, but then in Broward County, you're seeing a massive outpour. And there's some constituencies that we don't talk about enough. The West Indians, the Jamaicans, they love Kamala Harris because her dad is from Jamaica. So they got a big push there. And you also have the formerly incarcerated folks who got their rights back. The Florida Rights Restoration Coalition got them their rights back. At first, they were kind of like, Biden was kind of a mass incarcerator. Then the Republicans came down so hard on them, saying, we don't want you to vote. So they pushed 700,000 people back toward the Democrats. Not very smart. And then lastly, the Puerto Ricans, because of they're the biggest climate refugees. They had to leave their island because of all the storms there. There's a big Democratic base there. So you got Puerto Ricans, West Indians, formerly incarcerated people, and then Broward County. So now you're gonna have this thing. Miami-Dade versus Broward County is going to be a big
I think an important point. There's no doubt that Miami-Dade is important, and it's important to Democrats, and he has to. Joe Biden has to perform at least close to what Hillary Clinton did. He doesn't have to do what she did, but the state's more diverse than it was 4 years ago, and Joe Biden is doing much better with white voters, and I think that's going to be a theme throughout this night. He is at. Polling, Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton by 20 points in this country among white voters. Joe Biden has cut this to single digits. In Florida, he's cut the lead in half. So you look at a county like Pinellas County, where St. Petersburg is, and that is a county that Barack Obama won in 2012. Trump won in 2016, largely white retirees. He's not doing as well, Trump, with seniors as he did 4 years ago.
It's a weird
that's going to be another bellwether.
It's like Biden's getting more white folks than Democrats usually get, and then Trump is getting more African American men and Latinos. But the math of that may actually wind up favoring Biden.
Yes,
there's more white folks.
60% of the state is white.
He's losing seniors by 20 points. And that may be part of the increase with white voters. That may be a lot of that may be seniors. But you want to look at Broward County, where my dearly departed mother was a poll worker in Broward County, and you look at what's going to happen there, and I guarantee you're going to see a large shift among seniors.
We are just minutes away from our first exit poll results. We'll be back in a moment.
Deadline, you may be able to save money and
Adulting, but we also write.
We take care of ourselves. A couple miles at a time.
We both been taking Prevagen for a little more than 11 years now. After about 30 days of taking it, we noticed clarity that we didn't notice before.
It's still helping me. I still notice the difference.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
Since pioneering the SUV in 1935, the Chevy Suburban has carried many things. Nothing more important than family. Introducing the most versatile and advanced Chevy Suburban and Tahoe ever.
Dolph Lundgren, you've got a 160 IQ, a master's in chemical engineering, and you're technically a genius. And it appears you're quite the investor.
I like to trade.
Well, TD Ameritrade has pros ready if you need help, say, talking through a new strategy, just in case.
For a list of quality candidates from our resume database, so you can start hiring right away.
Anna.
You've changed for good. And when it really mattered, you trusted agency. Because staying home or venturing out, no one has more ways to help keep what matters most safe than EDT.
If you need life insurance, SelectQuote can help you get it at a price you can afford, even if you're not in perfect health or were turned down by others.
SelectQuote found Tanya, who has type 2 diabetes,
a $500,000 policy for only $44 a month. Rick has sleep apnea. We found him a $1.5 million policy for only $68 a month. And SelectQuote found Jacob, who is in excellent health, a $500,000 policy for only $20 a month.
Our secret? At SelectQuote, we aggressively comparison shop highly rated companies, including Pacific Life, American General, Prudential, Mutual of Omaha, and more, to find you the company with the best rates based on your needs. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford, even if you're not in perfect health. Call 1-800-709-0373. That's 1-800-709-0373. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
At VisionWorks, we know it's easy to forget to lose your vision benefits before the year's up. This is us making sure you don't. Use them before you lose them. That fire 100-day guarantee. VisionWorks, see the difference.
If something happened to you, what would happen to them? Their home, their education, their future. You need life insurance. And chances are SelectQuote can help you get it for less than $1 a day.
SelectQuote found Jacob 40, a $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. And SelectQuote found his wife Wendy a $500,000 policy for only $17 a month.
Our secret? At SelectQuote, we aggressively comparison shop highly rated companies to find you the company with the best rates.
We found Gary, 35, a $1 million policy for only $22 a month.
Why pay more? Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford.
Call 1-800-289-6041 or go to selectquote.com now and get the insurance your family needs.
At a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Good afternoon from New York. I'm Chris Hayes, and we are now officially 1 hour away from the first polls in the country closing in parts of Indiana as well as Kentucky on an election day in America where basically no news so far is good news. This is what I want to explain. Nobody wants lots of incidents and reports of wrongdoing, and so far things seem to be progressing smoothly. And that is, we should keep in mind, largely because more than 100 million Americans already cast their ballots before the day began. All of the in-person voting systems across this country that could have been faced today with an enormous crush amidst a pandemic raging out of control, they had that load lifted for them. I've personally heard reports from people all over the country who are used to waiting in line to vote in person on election day saying today has been easy, and thank God for that. Just within the last hour, Joe Biden spoke about what he is hearing about the turnout so far.
What I'm hearing is that there's overwhelming turnout, and overwhelming turnout, particularly of young people, of women, and there's an overwhelming turnout among African Americans, for example, in Georgia and Florida over the age of 65. So, I mean, the things that are happening bode well for the base that has been supporting them. But we'll see. We'll see.
Despite, or because of the coronavirus pandemic, we shattered the record for early voting already, and while we do not know what the final turnout numbers will look like, it does seem reasonable to expect a historically high turnout election based off of everything we've seen up till today. We're going to begin with our correspondents who are fanned out across country, polling places in key battleground states. NBC News correspondent Rahima Ellis is at a polling location in Philadelphia. NBC's Morgan Radford is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Rahima, to you first. How's it been?
It has been relatively quiet and easy, just as you mentioned in your introduction to all of this, Chris. This morning here at the Fillmore, which is a famous location in what's called Fishtown on the waterfront, is a very diverse community, a neighborhood here in Philadelphia. People lined up around 5:30 this morning, around the block almost, to get in here for 7 o'clock. They were concerned that they might see super long lines. Once they got in to the Fillmore, it's a place that holds about 2,500 people. They had no problem voting. Since then, we've seen a trickle of voters coming and going. No incidents reported whatsoever in this area. I should also tell you that one of the things at this location, they said this time last year, they had a 62% turnout of registered voters from this community. Before today, they had a 52% turnout of registered voters in early voting. As of today, 24%. So they are 74% of turnout of voters in this area in this election versus only 62% from 4 years ago. So for them, this is a very solid turnout. What have people been saying? First, they're talking about COVID-19 is something that's on their mind. They're talking about the appointment of federal judges. They want to see competence in their officials, particularly in the White House. And they're also concerned about criminal justice and police reform. And I should tell you, Chris, that police reform is literally on the ballot here in Philadelphia. There's a question that's saying to people, do they want to see a change in the police stop and frisk policy? Voters here in Philadelphia have an opportunity to make a decision on that. And it's coming after, just last week, there were riots following the police killing of a Black man just last week here in Philadelphia. So these are issues that people are thinking about in this community and they're voting on.
NBC's Rahima Ellis, thank you so much for that dispatch. I want to turn now to NBC News correspondent Morgan Radford, live in Charlotte, North Carolina, a hotly contested state. What have you seen today in Charlotte, Morgan?
That's right, Chris. I'm back in my home state of North Carolina, and at this hour, there are two big things we're keeping an eye on. Number one, this afternoon, we heard from the State Board of Elections, and they said there will now be a 45-minute delay in reporting results from precincts across the state. That's because there were just a few polling locations that are going to stay open a little bit later because they got a later start. So again, that does not mean that all the precincts tonight will be open 45 minutes later, but they must wait 45 minutes to report until that last polling station closes. The second thing we're watching is interesting, Chris, because we've been talking to state party officials from both parties, as well as the State Board of Elections, and they're really keeping an eye in these final hours on those unaffiliated voters. Both state Democrats and state Republicans say they have each respectively seen a surge in north of 100,000 new registered voters since the last election. But what they're both keeping an eye on is the 400,000 registered unaffiliated voters who registered since the last election. So typically when we talk to officials here, they said they tend to generally swing Republican in this particular state, but just recently they've been seeing a lot of new families, young families moving into the area. And so some state Republicans are a little bit concerned that they're going to swing Democrat. We've been here at the polling station talking to people all day about the issues they care about. They've talked about the pandemic, response to COVID-19. They've talked about jobs, healthcare, the economy, the things that you would expect to hear from people in a battleground state in a hotly contested race, not only for the presidency, but also for the Senate. That's what we're hearing now is 2.5 hours before those polls close. But again, we will not hear anything about the reporting of those results until 8:15 tonight, Chris.
Morgan, thank you for that. Great reminder to everyone who's watching this today as those numbers come in, Ds, Rs, unaffiliated. Those margins behind those labels mean a lot. They can determine the course of the election. No one really knows what's up, except in a few rare instances, maybe in Nevada, where they've got a pretty good track record. But keep that in mind. We don't know what those splits are of unaffiliated voters. We don't know the splits of R's and D's. Joining us now, Ron Klain, senior advisor to the Biden campaign, former chief of staff to Joe Biden and Al Gore, and former White House Ebola response coordinator, and MSNBC political analyst Zerlina Maxwell, host of Zerlina on Peacock, and Senior Director of Progressive Programming for Sirius XM. Ron, I saw an item today, there's been lots of, I think mostly jawboning and attempts at a psych job from the Trump camp about when he might declare victory, etc. I saw this today, reported in Axios that if news organizations declare Joe Biden the mathematical president-elect, he plans to address the nation as its new leader, even if President Trump continues to fight in court, advisors tell Axios. Tell us more about that.
Well, look, Chris, Joe Biden doesn't decide who won the election. Donald Trump doesn't decide who won the election. The American people decide who won the election. And if the results tonight or overnight or whenever they come in show that Joe Biden has won the election, the country as someone who's won the election. We're not going to get in front of it. We're not going to leapfrog it. We're going to let the voters decide the outcome. That's who is the judge in our system. It's not the candidates, it's the voters. And we're seeing record numbers of this. You said before, record numbers of them come to the polls, voting early, voting in person. Their voices will be heard tonight, and I'm very hopeful that their voices will speak out for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Zerlina, we've gotten used to, particularly I think over the last 8 or 9 months, watching lots of failures at many levels. And one thing that's striking to me as we watch this election day, steaming towards its conclusion, 100 million voters voting early, that there's actually been a lot of success in administering elections in this country. In some ways, it's the kind of happy story thus far. A lot of policy interventions, thousands of people working as poll workers and doing very hard work to make sure Americans can vote safely.
Absolutely, Chris, and I think that it's really the credit to organizing on the ground, not just on the Biden campaign and on behalf of Democrats, but also just the organic grassroots organizing that began with the Women's March on January 21st, the day after Donald Trump was sworn in 2017, and continued through the 2018 midterms and special elections since. And so I think that what you're seeing is people have planned ahead of time for what to expect on election day. And I think it's really important to establish that the fact that 100 million people have already voted, it allows the Joe Biden campaign to specifically target those folks in their voter database and universe that are left. And that gives them an incredible advantage on the day of GOTV. And so if you are able to just curb the drop off of 1 million voters in those 3 critical states that decided the election, that is sufficient, Chris. And so I think, to your point and open about when Donald Trump thinks he wants to declare victory, that's not up to him. It's going to be whoever gets to 270, as you said recently on your show. But also, I think the smooth nature of today so far, knock on wood, is the credit to organizers who have put themselves out front as Americans and are participating and engaging in democracy. And I think that is a really great thing to see on a day like today.
All right, so I want you, Ron and Zerlina, to stick with me for a second. We want to go over to the man of the evening, Steve Kornacki, who has, I believe, our first look of any exit polls of the evening. Tell us about where these polls come from, what they say.
Yeah, let's talk about this before I show you some of the numbers. It's the first wave of the exit polls. We're going to get more numbers over the next few hours, so some numbers are going to move around here. Obviously, exit polling is a little bit different this year. There certainly were folks out at polling sites today collecting interviews with folks who went and voted early, but there was a lot more this year in terms of exit polling, of contacting voters in all sorts of states who had voted early, who voted by mail, who voted in person early, finding out who they were, calling them, including them in the exit poll. So there was a big effort placed in that. I'm going to show you just a couple national numbers about some broad things you're seeing here in the exit poll. I think this was an interesting question here, asking voters to choose between the 2 major themes here you really heard a lot about: controlling the coronavirus and rebuilding the economy. Which was a more important issue to you? And you're seeing here 52 saying containing the coronavirus, 42% saying rebuilding the economy. Again, national first wave exit poll, take that for what it is. Also, there was this, time of decision here. We talk so much about folks having their minds made up well in advance of this election. I remember in 2016, we were saying, wow, 85% had their minds made up well before the last month. Again, you're seeing the same number here, 85% saying, no, it wasn't the last month of this campaign. It was well before the last month of this campaign that they made up their minds. And then a couple of candidate qualities, we kind of threw at folks and said, which one matters the most to you? 4 different choices here. You can see 32% saying a strong leader. That was the most important thing to them. Having good judgment clocked in at number 2, caring about people like me at 21%, and then uniting the country at 19%. These are the 4 main qualities. You see what folks were weighing in on there. So some broad sort of qualities of candidate character there, and then those 2 major issues, Chris, you hear about a lot.
Can I ask a methodological question just to be clear on this? This is data that includes a sort of random statistical sampling of people that had already voted early and some people from this morning voting today.
Yeah, traditionally,
I just want to make sure that
traditionally exit polls are, you just got folks, thousands of folks around the country at polling sites. That's still there, but in recognition of 100 million people voting early, now you've got, we say it's a poll in all of these different states. It's a phone poll. But when you see these media polls in advance of the election where Biden's up 5 or Trump's up 2, those will have 800 people and then 900 people. We're talking tens of thousands of people here. So it's a very different type of poll, the exit poll. And it's been done for years in states that have heavy early voting. We're just doing it in many more states now.
I want to go back, and I think we still have Ron Klain and Zerlina Maxwell here, and I wanted to follow up Ron about that. Again, these are not, I just want to be clear to everyone, these are not gospel, these are not outcome determinative. It's an early snapshot of a part but not whole the electorate. But I did think the coronavirus question posed there, Ron, was interesting. I think in some ways, I think those two things aren't actually oppositional to each other. I think that getting a strong economy depends on dealing with the virus. But I'm curious your reaction to how you think about that issue and how it's played out in this campaign.
Well, Chris, I think you're exactly right, which is obviously Joe Biden has, from the earliest days of this outbreak, been on top of it. He's launched a plan to deal with it. He's talked about all the ways Trump mishandled it. But I think the point is, whichever way those voters answer the question, Joe Biden is the better candidate for president. He has the plan to fight coronavirus. And unless we get the virus under control, we're not going to get our economy back to where it needs to be. Now, he has an economic plan to build back better. That's been part of it. I think when you look at these exit polls, what you're saying is basically voters strongly believing Biden is able to handle coronavirus, also a strong vote of confidence for him on the economy. I think those two things put together, plus his ability to unite the country and our discussion about how we're going to bring people together to solve problems, I think all those things are leading to what I hope will be a very good night for us tonight.
You know, Zerlina, that polling on when people made up their mind is fascinating to me, and it points to one of the strangest features of the last 9 months of our lives. The craziest, most tumultuous 9 months that many of us have ever lived through, in which the polling and the politics were shockingly stable in terms of what we see.
Yeah, that does surprise me, Chris, because I think that one of the things I've been thinking about all week is the fact that the pandemic has essentially equalized some of the impact of the damage and incompetence of the Trump administration. Early on, it was the Muslim ban or child separation, which impacted specific communities. But the pandemic was something that impacted everyone, not in the exact same way, but certainly changed everyone's daily lived existence. And I think that is the most pressing concern. So it does surprise me a bit that folks had perhaps decided before they had to go into quarantine. But I do think, especially in the late phase of the campaign here, basically Donald Trump's rally schedule was a reinforcing message that he does not take the pandemic seriously, that he does not follow scientific guidelines, and he's defying them every single time he has a rally. So even though he thought those rallies were great for him, I think it just reinforced in voters' minds that he is not able to handle this crisis, which will need to be handled very swiftly in order to get the economy back on track and in order to get the country back on track.
It's a great reminder, of course, that just because it's election day, the virus has not gone anywhere. There are some numbers coming in that don't look great. In fact, it's going to be a very bad day, most likely. There are people right now watching who are nervous about loved ones who are hospitalized, and we'll be monitoring all that as well. Ron Klain and Zerlina Maxwell, thank you both. Zerlina will be up late for election coverage on Peacock with our buddy Mehdi Hassan, starting at midnight Eastern on The Choice. Definitely check that out. A lot more to get to this hour. Coming up, we'll look at how Democrats are pushing back against Republican efforts to disqualify ballots, plus Joe Biden's fight to expand the electoral map and pick off red states. We've also got James Carville, who will be with us. It is election day. Settle in and don't go anywhere.
This is Steve. He used to have still
7 p.m. Eastern tonight. Democrats apparently not taking any chances after what happened 4 years ago. Vice President Joe Biden campaigned today in Pennsylvania, and his running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, was in Michigan earlier. And just one thing we want to point out to our viewers, we have some breaking election news as results are starting to come in now from our Fox News voter analysis election survey. And you're going to see that on the side of your screen over there. It's a breakdown of all the data from the 50 states to help explain who's voted and why they voted and the way they did. And it shows us what issues are the most important to voters. And we're going to update that information all night. So, Dan, it is, I guess, not traditional to have, I guess, the entire ticket out there in swing states campaigning on election day. What does that tell you?
Well, I think that the Democrats, when we talk about bedwetters, right? They are, they're soaked.
How you doing over there, Juan?
I mean, I can't imagine being somebody on the Biden campaign that has to take the phone calls from everybody, calling the columnists and the county chairman, calling the
is everything okay? I'm hearing that's not okay, and the stars aren't aligned, and things aren't happening. But I think that they're smart not to take it for granted. Incumbents usually win. President Trump is a strong closer. His real code of politics job approval, or his approval, is at 46%. That is the same number that he got in the popular vote in 2016. Can he improve upon that? That might be with a different mix of voters, right? So if you didn't vote in 2016, are you more likely to vote in 2018? The Biden people are hoping if you're somebody that didn't vote then, you're voting now, that you're going to vote for them. And I think that I do have to say a note of compliment to Jen O'Malley Dillon. She is the Biden campaign manager, and she seeks no publicity at all. Kind of like Bill Stepien of the Trump campaign. These people, they've sat behind the scenes, they are worker bees, and she is very cautious. And she's told the Democrats don't take anything for granted.
Right. I mean, we were told by the media, Juan, that this was a 10-point race and Joe Biden was ahead in every single battleground. It's obviously not the actual case. It's going to be a very close election. Jen O'Malley, as Dana was saying, was on a call today, and she said, well, here's how the Biden campaign can win if we don't win Florida or Pennsylvania. And a lot of people looked at that and said, whoa. I thought those two states were solid blue.
No, I mean, look, this is the thing. I think I understand how you're positioning this because you want to be pro-Trump.
Oh, do you, Juan?
Yeah, but
do you
understand
what I'm doing?
What she's saying is there's so many options for Joe Biden. The key here, and I think this is what you're seeing from the polls, Jesse, is that Biden expanded the map. No, look, I said this to someone earlier. I was on a radio show. In my lifetime, when has Georgia been in play for Democrats? That's crazy, right?
Well, when has Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan and Pennsylvania been in play for Republicans?
In 16, in fact, Trump won some of those. But now, this time around, those states look like they're stacked. But I think that Biden has expanded not only Georgia, we're talking about Texas, we're talking about Arizona, we're talking about Iowa. I mean, that's really amazing.
President Trump is going to win Texas, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Arizona, and North Carolina.
And if you're a good boy, I'm going to give you a big present on Christmas. I mean, your fantasy.
I don't want anything, and it's not a fantasy. But
one last point. I think the president today said losing is tough.
It is.
He looked like he was ready to lose. The second thing I'd say is, when the president says, oh, if there's counting votes late after November 3rd, that means after midnight, that means that the system is rigged, they're cheating. Look, that's not true. That's not evidence of corruption or ineptitude. That's just the way the state counts. Pennsylvania is likely, given all the historic rate of mail-in votes, they're going to come in later.
I saw the president today. I think they said his voice was a little hoarse, but I think he did 5 events and got back to the White House stadium at 3:30 in the morning last night.
Yeah, I
left it all on the table.
I sound like that and look like that every day because he was working his off, right? Joe Biden only has to follow one mantra: don't be Hillary Clinton. He has to be out there actively campaigning up until the very end, or he'll never hear the end of it. But he also has to work against a quartet of horribles that have popped up to potentially unnerve voters in recent weeks. Fears of lockdown, because Uncle Joe ain't bringing your job back with empathy. Censorship from the literati and the super rich in Silicon Valley. The Biden oopsie or promise, however you want to call it, to basically start killing off the oil and gas industry in this country, essentially wiping out American prosperity. And then the final one, in my mind, all this plywood going up in all these major cities, these businesses boarding up. They were looted by rioters a few months ago when Joe Biden would not step up and condemn it, only turned on mayhem when it didn't poll well for him. So those 4 things, not good for the Biden campaign.
Yeah, and market up big today, Greg. You got 10 times richer, and plywood. I heard you bought some stock in plywood.
Well, yeah, I was at the market. I got some apples and some oranges and pears. I'm in a really good mood. You know, I feel pretty good. And I think I would feel pretty good if there wasn't an election. And I think that's what we're talking about here, is that the Trump voter and the Trump supporters tend to be pretty happy, and the Biden supporters and the Biden voters seem really anxious. Is that because of the election? Or is that just who they are? And I think that there's this interesting thing where for Republicans and conservatives, politics isn't a lifestyle. You know, if they lose this election, including Trump, if he loses, they just get on with their lives. But it's not like that with the Democrats. This is a big deal because they politicized politicized every single part of your life: academics, education, and all kinds, entertainment, sports. Everywhere you go, it's politics, and it drives Republicans crazy because that's only one part of their life. I will finish with an analogy. For the left, life is like a skyscraper. The bottom floor is politics. If you pull that out, it all goes down. For Republicans and conservatives in general, life is like a shopping mall. If that one store closes, politics gets boarded up. All the other stores remain open. The other stores could be family, religion, friends, wine, sports, and hobbies. We're all not dependent or touched by politics and everything. And I think that's why you see you're going to see a good mood no matter whether people are going to be sad if Trump loses. But it's not this internal, my life is over sadness that you're going to see on the streets if Biden loses.
Yeah, and if you're unhappy, read Greg's book. It's a self-help book for people that don't like self-help books. The plus, yes, thank you. All right, and look at all of our neat voter analysis there on the screen. It actually says over 80% of Americans feel confident that their votes will be counted if cast properly. And that's a good thing because we want to believe in the integrity of the election. All right, I have you. I do, personally. Is election chaos coming? Is it? Both sides claiming the other will prematurely declare victory tonight. What Trump and Biden are saying next.
The level of anxiety, the level of this kind of emotional fatigue from people. Look, if you're a Muslim family, if you're from an immigrant community, if you feel vulnerable in any way, this has been a horrific 4 years. And so people, I think, would vote for Kermit the Frog over Donald Trump at this point. So that's going to be a big part of it. But I think what you're seeing is that Biden has actually won people over who were skeptical of him. I was one of the people who said, I don't think Biden's going to be able to make it. A lot of people, they've seen the consistency. What do you do? The first thing he did this morning, he went to mass. And people forget, he's a Catholic, he's a man of deep faith. His message today is the same as it was when he started the campaign. And his message that we need to come together, I think, has really broken through. So I think that number has gotten less now an anti-Trump party and more a pro-Biden unity message party. I think you're going to see that tonight.
I would make the argument that most decent Americans, which I think the vast majority of Americans are, don't like to say they're voting against somebody.
That's right.
And so I think that number is generally like Republicans. Only 14% say they're voting against Biden. That's because they don't want to go in there and think, well, I'm voting against somebody. So the fact that 31% were willing to admit that they were voting against Donald Trump, that's a big number.
It says a lot about Trump.
It does say a lot about Trump.
It's just rub this country raw.
Look,
I've just been rubbed raw by the disrespect, by the consistent, outlandish behavior, by the lying. So yeah, I think it says a lot about Donald Trump.
I think this election is about two emotions, one in common with the parties and one different. Both are playing to America's fears of what the other is going to do, who is doing, or will do. So fear is a common. The difference is loving Donald Trump or hating Donald Trump. And which is fear is an equal motivator. But which one is the more powerful motivator? Being for someone or being passionate for them or being passionate against them?
Or a change.
I think people loving the communities that have been disrespected by Donald Trump. I see a lot of love. In fact, one thing that's really interesting about this campaign, this politics of joy that's coming. As you see people standing these long lines, the young people are bringing a different spirit. It's not an angry spirit from young people. They were angry this summer. You're seeing this politics of joy. You're seeing groups, the Vote Mob group and the Student Power Network and all these people, they're bringing music, they're bringing joy. Why? Because they are tired of being tired and they want something better. It shows in their politics.
The first votes of the night are coming up at the top of the hour. We'll have more exit poll results soon. Much more ahead on this election night in America.
The same age and same generation, we remember Y2K, which was it's a fascinating story. 1999, people thought that the computers around the world would melt down because their dates only included 2 digits. There was a lot of hype about that. And there was actually a lot of work done to work on that so it wouldn't be a disaster. And then it wasn't a disaster. And I think you can make a little bit of a case so far about the election administration process. There were lots of warnings, and in response to warning, lots of changes and lots of energy, such that we're now in a place that so far is looking pretty good.
Absolutely. That's the sense that I got across the country, Chris. There's widespread awareness over what could happen, and there are widespread preparations to make sure those eventualities don't come.
Hey, Tara, info for you. How you doing? Call me on the phone. I'm just sitting up here relaxing. The kids outside playing and listening to the election. So what's the T? What is the T, Tara, info for you? What is the T, sis?
I think it's a great point. Again, we are at 5:30 here on the East Coast on Election Day, so nothing is done as it still is done. But as of this point, there has been a lot of hard work by a lot of people to make sure that people can vote and vote safely. Alex Wagner, Ned Foley, Vanita Gupta, thank you all. Ahead, Joe Biden's making a real push.
The results. Just several promising vaccine.
Okay, I think we listened to enough news. I'm about to close this out and I'll start up another live in a little while. You're listening to your girl, Nicole Reloaded, locked and loaded with another video. Remember, be a blessing to others and not a curse. Make sure that you like, share, thumbs up, and all that good for your girl, man. May God bless America. What you got to say, Chocolate? I'm out, y'all. Oh, no, I accidentally deleted my video. I'm going to have to add it back on here. Now I'm mad.